For more, let's bring in Antjuan Seawright and Leslie Sanchez. Antjuan is a CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist. Leslie is a CBS News political analyst and Republican strategist. Welcome to you both. Great to see you. Antjuan, let me start with you. How much of a blow is this to President Biden's agenda, and how concerning is it to you that Manchin has vowed to keep the filibuster?
Well, thank you for having me. Certainly it is a concern. I would not call it a blow. Listen, the reason you saw so many people in the Democratic, I would say, environment, you had some who were frustrated, you had some who were pissed off, because people know the history of the filibuster. They know Strom Thurmond used the filibuster in 1957 to filibuster the Civil Rights Act. And we also know that has been used as a weapon of political mass destruction and a weapon of political mass distraction, and also used as a drainage plug to stop progress in this country. And so when Senator Manchin's op-ed piece came out on Sunday, it caused a real ruckus, I think, within so many fractions of the Democratic Party. Why? Because think about what that could mean for the president's agenda. By the way, his agenda is bipartisan because outside of Washington, D.C., most of the items he continues to advocate for enjoy above 50% approval. And so you look at how Democrats were able to put Joe Biden in the White House and how we have the majority in both the House and the Senate. It's because of, I believe, the most loyal constituency in the country, and that's black voters. And when you think about what the filibuster will stop, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's the voting rights legislation, it will have tremendous impact on the most consequential community in this country, black voters.
All right, Leslie, I want to turn to you now. On any given day, Senator Manchin can either be Republicans' best friend or worst enemy. That's essentially because of where he stands as a moderate in a virtually split Senate. So how do you think Republicans will capitalize on Manchin's decision not to vote for this bill?
In many ways, Manchin is that electoral or political unicorn, right? He is the last few rare sighting of a conservative Democrat. And even the rare conservative Democrats on the House side face a tremendous amount of pressure internally from their own party. In some ways, that they get the biggest battle scars from each other's kind of bucking the system in terms of not following a really leftist agenda. This is a case where you have a senator in an increasingly Republican state who is listening to his voters, and there is not a sentiment when you have too close to call majorities, when you have these splits that are so close, removing the filibuster, many feel, and certainly Republicans, and you could say Republicans argue this because they're out of power right now, but either side, it gives another side a tremendous advantage without gaining bipartisan support. And because of that, he holds, like some other senators we've seen, tremendous amount of power in being able to listen to both sides. But these senators prove to be extremely critical in some of these landmark pieces of legislation. So it's important and imperative for both parties to work together to really kind of pursue these types of cross voters and votes.
Right. So, Antjuan, with Manchin's vow, passage of the full bill now appears to be impossible, though parts of it could pass in other ways if Democrats are willing to break up the bill. Is that something you see your party doing? And if so, how? Which pieces of it do you think are most likely to survive?
Well, I think we have to. I think the place we have to get to is the place where we yell in the places we agree and we whisper in the places we disagree. And I say do those things publicly. The fact of the matter is that the American people, Democrats and Republicans, are expecting us to deliver with this majority we have. There are some places in the bill that I know Senator Manchin is for. I know he wants to do things that will essentially expand opportunities for people to participate, because I think democracy is dependent on that. And so I think Democrats have an obligation to work together to flush out those things and come up with something. And we keep working at this thing. It will not be an overnight process. It will not be a quick process. In fact, I will probably tell you direction is far more important than speed in this case.
And so, Leslie, to Antjuan's point, while Manchin does oppose the For the People Act, he does support another voting rights bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would restore a key provision of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that was gutted by the Supreme Court in 2013. And Manchin says Alaska Republican Lisa Murkowski is on board. So is that something you can envision Republicans voting to approve?
That's the right direction, Tanya, that Senator Manchin is looking for. And he specifically has called that out and said we should work to specific aspects of the Voting Rights Act that the Supreme Court rejected. And with respect to that, you already see bipartisan support. It's a lot less of a marketing tool to say we're going to take just pieces of it and move forward with those legislation, because in many cases both sides like comprehensive election reform, immigration reform, infrastructure reform, whatever these issues may be. But this may really be the silver lining that advances an area where there is agreement and that would give both sides, and particularly the president, a win.
All right, sounds good. Leslie Sanchez and Antjuan Seawright, thank you so much. Always great to have you both on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.